Now, Samach Aleph Amud Aleph will begin Samach Amud Beis at the very bottom. V'loy biyachad bisman shein baraglo maka. A person cannot go out wearing only one shoe unless he has an injury, he has a sore on his foot, on one of his feet. So the Rashi explained, gave two reasons for the reason you can't go out wearing only one shoe. One reason is that people will suspect him to be chayshid. He's only wearing one shoe. Where's the other shoe? Maybe he's carrying it. It's covered under his clothing. He's carrying it, and they'll be chayshid him. They'll suspect him of carrying. Second reason Rashi gives is that people will laugh at him only wearing one shoe, and he'll be embarrassed, and therefore he might come to remove the shoe and come and carry it. So the Gemara is medayik, yesh baraglo makeh, nafik, the Gemara is medayik, but if he has a sore, he has an injury on his foot, he could go out wearing only one shoe. And there, we're not choishish for these two chashashes. So b'hai minayu nafik, which one does he wear? Which he only goes with, does he wear it on the foot that has the injury or that it doesn't have the injury? He says he goes out with the one on, he wearing the shoe on the foot that has the makeh, that has the injury. He must hold that the reason that they wear, in those days, many people went barefoot. What was the reason that some people wore shoes? Is to avoid the pain, the tsar of stepping on stones or sharp objects. So that's the purpose of the sandal. So therefore he says, if he has a makeh, so he wears it on the foot that has the makeh, so in order to protect him, to protect the foot. Now people will not be chayshish that he's carrying the other shoe, or people will not laugh at him because they see that he's limping, and they'll therefore a reason that the only purpose for him to wear the shoe was to protect the foot that has the makeh. The other foot that doesn't have a makeh, there's no reason for him to wear a shoe. Why is he doing this unusual behavior of wearing only one shoe? Because he has a makeh, and he has to protect his foot. He has to protect his foot from further pain, and people won't laugh at him as a result of that. And even if they would, he's not going to take off the shoe because he doesn't want to incur further pain. He says you put it on the shoe, on the foot, that does not have the makeh. Must be that he holds that the reason that the people wear shoes, those who do wear shoes, or in those days who did wear shoes, is not to avoid the pain, but it is for comfort. It's dafka the people who wanted comfort, who were more mufunokim, who wanted to have greater comfort. They wore shoes. And he says, therefore, you put the shoe on the one that doesn't have the injury, and so therefore it shows that the foot that it doesn't have the shoe, and why is he doing this unusual behavior? Because the foot that has the sore, that has the injury, it's difficult for him to put on the shoe. It's difficult for him, and people will realize that's why he's not wearing the other shoe. And therefore they won't come to laugh at him, they won't come to suspect him, and that's where you put the shoe on the foot that does not have the makeh. He also holds like Rav Huna. He also holds that you put it on the foot that has the makeh, He said, please bring me my shoes. So he gave him the shoe for the right foot. That's what he gave him first. You treated it like I have a makeh on this foot. Now, as Rashi explains, meaning, he said, I will now only be allowed to put on this one shoe. Because, as we'll see shortly, Rav Yochanan held that the order of where you put your shoes on, you put first the left one and then the right. First you put the shoe on the left foot and then the right. Now, here he gave him the right shoe. Now, if he would put this on, he would not be able to therefore then put on the left shoe, because according to Rav Yochanan, the left goes first. So if he put on the right, he would not be able to put on the left anymore. He would only be able to wear the right. And therefore, he says, you treated like this foot has a makkah, and therefore I'm only wearing the one shoe, and he's putting it on the right. You made it into a makkah. The Gemara says, no, it's not a right. What's your right that he holds like Rav Huna, but maybe he holds like Chia bar Rav, that you put it on you put the shoe on the foot that doesn't have the makkah. Shall small makkah. You treated it like the left foot has a makkah, and now if I wear this right shoe, I wear the right one, I will not be able to put on the left one. And you treated it like the left foot has a makkah, and that's why I'm putting the shoe on the right foot and not on the left foot. So there's no raya that Rav Yochanan held like Rav Huna in this manner. But however, now that we're discussing the order of how you put on your shoes, now we're going into a discussion of what is that order. What is the order? You put on the right shoe first, the left shoe first, and how do you tie them? Rav Yochanan follows his reason. Just like you put on tefillin, that's the same order that you put your shoes on. Tefillin be small, just like we see by tefillin, there's a chashivas to the left. You tie only your left arm, the tefillin goes only on the left. So we see that there's a special chashivas for tefillin by the left. Af minolim be small. So too, by putting on your shoes, there's also a chashivas for the left. So the left shoe should be worn first. Mesei, have a kasha from the Brisa. Kishu noel shel yamin v'alkach noel shel small. The Brisa says the order is reversed. It says first the right, then the left. Not like Rav Yochanan. Amar Rav Yosef, Hofstedter Tanya Hachi. Amar Rav Yochanan Hachi. The Brisa says one way, and Rav Yochanan says the other. Rav Yochanan says left. Dovid Hachi Ovid. Dovid Hachi Ovid. Either which way is appropriate. Since the Rav Yochanan says the left, the Brisa says the right, they're both appropriate. You can do either which way. So Tosfos asks, if that's the case, then why did Rav Yochanan say that you made it like my foot has a makkah? Why was he makbid on Rosh Hashanah that he gave him the right first? If either which way is appropriate, if there's a Brisa that says the right, if he gave him the right shoe, so what's the problem? So Tosfos says that according to this approach, when it says that Ovid Hachi Ovid, Dovid Hachi Ovid, it doesn't mean that you can flip-flop. It doesn't mean that you can go and do any which way haphazardly and choose one time to do the right and the left. It means that you can follow either practice. Either practice is appropriate, but it has to be consistent. You have to be consistent with either practice. You can't go and switch back and forth. Now, Rav Yochanan, even though the right one could put the right on first, but his practice was, he was noying to put on the left because of the chashivas of tefillin, that you tie it on the left arm. His minig was to do the left, and therefore he was makbid because he held his minig was to do the left. But if one is noying the right, one could, but one has to be consistent. Amalei Abaye said, Dilma, Rav Yochanan Masechet Shabbat. How can you say Dovid Hachi Ovid that they're both appropriate? Perhaps Rav Yochanan didn't hear of this brisa. How can you say that they're both appropriate? Maybe he didn't hear of the brisa. Had he heard, he would have been chayzer. And maybe therefore the halachi is dafka. It has to be dafka, the right. Because of rein halacha chayzer mishnah. That perhaps he did, and he held, however, in spite of that, that we do not paskin that way, and it has to be dafka left. So how do you know that you can do either which way? Perhaps the halacha is like the Brisa, Rav Yochanan didn't hear of it, and it's dafka the right, or perhaps he did, and he held not like the Brisa, and it's dafka the left. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, he says, well, since we have Rav Yochanan's memra, and we have the Brisa, he says, Yoreh Shamayim Yotzi Deishteim. He says someone is a Yoreh Shamayim, he should try to fulfill both. Umana Mar Brei Ravna. Who was this Yoreh Shamayim that we're referring to? It is Mar Brei Ravna. Hayachi Ovid, what was his minig? Seemed the amina of loikot. First, he put on the right. He put on the right, but didn't tie it. It was same the small of a kotter. And then he put on the left, and he tied the left shoe. And then he tied the right shoe. First, he put on the left. Then he put on he put on the right, and then he put on the left and tied it, and then he tied the right. And the reason for this order, Taisa says, is because we see this chashivas by the left, but that's lagabi kshira. That's lagabi tefillin and being kosher the tefillin. So lagabi kshira, we give the priority, the preference to the left. But in other respects, the right is considered more choshev. Lagabi other things, the boyin yad, the boyin regos, it's the right, the yamin, which has chashivas. So in terms of putting on the shoe, you put on the right first. In terms of tying it, it's the left. And therefore, Taisa says, if it's a shoe without laces that you're not tying, it's the right and then the left. Amar Ravashi Chasina Lerv Kahana the lake carpet. So I saw Ravashi, and he wasn't makbid. He wasn't makbid either which way. So the machlokes in the poskim, does that mean? Is that what we refer to? Well, like Rav Yosef said that David Hachi is the same thing, which means therefore that according to Tosfos that he's not makbid, meaning you could do one way or the other, but you have to be consistent. Or is Ravashi not saying like Rav Yosef? Is Ravashi saying something else? That there's no kapeda whatsoever. You can put the right on one time and the left the other. You do not even have to be consistent. So that's a machlokes in the Paisik, the Beises, in the Bach, how to understand this. Tan Rabbana, Kishu Noel Shel Yamin, V'achach Noel Shel Small. When he puts on the shoe, he puts on first the right and then the left. Kishu choyletz, when he removes it, choyletz shel small, v'akach choyletz shel yamin. And then when he removes it, first the left and then the right. The right has priorities put on first, and it's taken off last. Kishu roichetz, when he washes them, similarly we have priority given to the right. Kishu roichetz shel yamin, he washes the right, v'akach roichetz shel small. Then the left, kishu sach, when he anoints himself, he rubs himself with oil, sach shel yamin, v'akach shel small. Again, the right has the chashivas. V'aroitza laso kol gufay, and if he wants to do his whole body, sach roisha, tchila, first the head. Mipnei shu melcha kol evarim, because the head is considered the king of the evarim, that has to be given the chashivas, and that is done first. V'loi b'tfilin, and he cannot go out on Shabbos wearing tefillin. Amar Rav Safra loitem, aliv the man damar Shabbos lavs man tefillin. It's not only according to the man damar who says Shabbos is not zman tefillin, that we don't wear tefillin on Shabbos. So not only according to that man damar you don't go out with the tefillin. Certainly according to him you don't, because Shabbos is not a time for tefillin. Ela filu the man damar Shabbos zman tefillin, who even according to the man damar that tefillin Shabbos is a time of tefillin and you could wear tefillin on Shabbos lo yetze. Still, he should not go out to the street with the tefillin, Dilma Osilasuya Rishus Rabbin, because he might come to carry it in the Rishus Rabbin. Tosfos brings a girsa that it's Rashi's girsa is that the straps might tear, and therefore he might take it off and come to carry in Rishus Rabbin. Our girsa does not have it's not that the straps might tear. It's not Dilma Mitzakiv Osilasuya. It's just maybe he'll come to go out with them. Then, and according to this, it's the pshat is that he might come to carry it because perhaps he'll have to relieve himself, go to the bathroom, and he might carry the tefillin. He'll have to take it off and carry the tefillin. Some learn this referring to the Seifa of the Mishnah. If he did go out wearing the tefillin, he's not chayv chatos. And on that, it's not only according to the man damar who says that Shabbos is the zman of tefillin, and therefore it's not considered carrying when he wears a tefillin, because you're permitted to wear tefillin on Shabbos. Man damar Shabbos loves man tefillin, who even according to man damar who says it's not zman, he's not chayv chatas. He's not supposed to wear the tefillin on Shabbos. Why is it not considered carrying? My taima derech malbush avida. this is considered like a malbish, like clothing. Since during the week normally he wears tefillin, now even though he doesn't have a mitzvah of tefillin on Shabbos, but it's no worse than an article of clothing, and it's not considered carrying. Now he can't go out with it because he might come to carry it, but in it itself is not carrying when he's wearing it because it's derech malbush. This is the way a yid. This is the way he dresses himself. He wears tefillin, so it's considered a clothing, an article of clothing, not carrying. He cannot go with an amulet if it has not been done by an expert. If it's done by an expert, then it's written by an expert, he can go out. But if it's not, he cannot. It doesn't have to be that it's a proven expert to write kmeiyas, and that this particular amulet, this particular kmeiya has been proven to heal people, to heal 3 people, meaning that you have a mumcha that wrote a particular amulet, and that amulet, that kmeya, healed 3 people with this sickness. It doesn't have to be that extent. Once the one who wrote the kmeya rather has been established as a mumcha, that when you know that he has cured 3 people, even if this particular kmeya has not been proven to be effective. It says you cannot go out with kmeya when it's not min ha-mumcha, from an expert. It doesn't say when it is not perfected. It doesn't. So it's not referring to the kmeya. It's referring to the person who wrote the kmeya. Shema mina, that's sufficient. As long as the one who wrote it has been established as an expert, you can go out with a kmeya that he wrote for you, even though if this particular kmeya has not been proven.